All right. So the first conflict that we have is in somewhat chronological order. Lazuli is going to make a truth serum that she's going to attempt to give and administer to the artist. Let's see how potent this truth serum is exactly. So her poison making ability is above average. This isn't a challenge. This isn't a skill challenge. We're going to first see if she's capable of making one, and depending on the result of that roll, it might be an exceptional one or it might be a poor one. I'm going to say that the chances of her being able to make one are near certain. Okay, we'll say near. It's certain. The question to be, is she able to make one? It's certain. Anything under 90, anything under 18 is a critical, is an exceptional. So that's what we're trying to. We're trying to roll under 18 to see if she can potentially make a really really good one. That's the goal here. What? Can't make this shit up. She just rolled an exceptional yes on the tonic. All right. We'll say this is a. Is this an above high ranked? Is it high and is it? We'll say at minimum it's going to be a high ranked tonic. Is it higher? 50-50. No. All right. So it's high. It's a high ranked tonic. High ranked serum. Truth serum. I think that's fair. You know, high rank. It's an above average skill. Got an exceptional yes. At minimum, it can be high ranked. Yeah. We'll rock out with that. When Darren brings her to the artist, she will request to speak with him. Should he be unconscious, she will pour the water into his mouth and leave. Should he be awake, she will ask a few questions and appear kind and otherwise unassuming. She will offer the wineskin for the artist to drink as a token of goodwill. So first, let me wonder: is this something that will be happening before all the other stuff? Ovaz says he rises early, observes the sunrise. Luigi will speak to the artist in private to get information. That's going to be prior from there wants to help. Will arrives early, and Ovaz arrives, gets up early. Will's the only one that is saying he's getting there early. And if Will is there, Sky is there. Darren is bringing her to the artist, so Darren is going to be there. So she would be the first one to talk to him. Will is not going to talk to the artist until Oiji gets there to do the, interrogations. Okay. So yeah, Lazuli will get there first. Should he be unconscious, she will pour water into his mouth and leave. Should he? He's not. Will. She's gonna. Darren brings her to the artist. She will request to speak with him. She will be. Should he be unconscious, should be awake. So she won't be accompanied alone because Will is going to protest. No one would let her. No one would let anyone in there talk to alone unless there's a good reason. So Darren will accompany her. Obviously, right? Will the artist is the artist sleeping? I'm gonna say very unlikely. I'll say very unlikely. Very unlikely. 37. And all right, so she's talking to him, accompanied by Darren. She's talking to him. Should he be unconscious, she'll pour water. Should he be awake, she will ask a few questions and appear kind and otherwise unassuming. She will offer the wineskin for the artist to drink as a token of goodwill. So let's take a look at her personality. Adaptable, charismatic, driven, independent. Female, warm, brown skin. Her appearance, agility, and willpower. So average. She's nice. Wild gaze. Speak. Okay. So yeah, she's charismatic, but nothing out of the ordinary. So average. So there's no skill being used here. We'll just ask the fake question. Does he accept the water? I'm going to say unlikely. He's very chaotic, right? We don't know, but I'll say unlikely. It's unlikely that he takes the drink. Yeah, that's an exceptional no. Really on a cusp of an exceptional no. He doesn't take it. That's an exceptional no. All right, he doesn't drink it. Nice try though. All right, so he doesn't take it. Oichi speaks to Will about speaking with the artist. He speaks with the artist in private. Can Oichi convince Will to speak with the artist in private? Oichi is bold, protective, intolerant, and deceptive. Willpower and intelligence is a secondary attribute. He'll probably say something along the lines of, before he interrogates him, he would like some time alone with him. And because Oiji is a magical person, that's not really dangerous. as it would be for any other person. The main reason Will doesn't want people alone with him is because it's dangerous. So, can Luigi convince Will to get alone time, some private time with him? Luigi has no skill of, nor is he trying to use a skill of deception or anything. This will be a fake question. So Luigi asks. It's still a matter of convincing, though. So we'll just settle on a governing attribute of intelligence. This is ultimately intelligence, and Luigi has an intelligence of high. Willem has willpower and strength. Yeah. So we'll do the difference based on intelligence. So intelligence of high. Will has an intelligence. His intelligence is average. So that's 2 rank shifts. I'm going to say likely. I'm going to say 50-50, only because he said he's strongly opposed. But his reasoning was because of danger and magic. But even still, I'm going to say 50-50. That's the best I can do. 50-50. Exceptional no. Exceptional no. Which means that Luigi's going to need to find some more private time. Some different opportunities to get some private time with the artist alone. Did he say what happened if he couldn't? If he couldn't get time alone with him, did he say what he would do? Let's see. Better still if he can do so in private, but he's still going to try. During the artist's trial, Luigi will advocate for the man's death, but he will push to have the artist released into custody afterwards. So he's going to have to aim for custody afterwards. If he really wanted that dark knowledge, he shouldn't advocate for his death, because they're calling for immediate execution. He's not going to get the opportunity to get him in his custody again. He'll probably try to use underhanded methods through the interrogation to get as a last ditch effort to get information. That's probably what'll happen. Exceptional no. Lots of exceptionals. Exceptional no. Failed to get him in private. While on the topic, is Oiji able to secretly, craftily get knowledge throughout his methods of interrogating him? Also, remember, he has to make it not look like torture. So we might have to do a couple rolls. One roll, this first roll, is to see if will he be able to get information using these methods. Let me double check his methods. Magic energy can turn his magic into simple handheld weapons. Magic disruption can cause an instantaneous burst of energy that confuses. Magic immunity can create a protective barrier magic that protects from physical harms. A minor mending of flesh wounds and lacerations. He can heal. Magic unveiled danger, a cognitive buff opening one's perception, makes it easier to see what is hidden, which is what he would probably use. Medical attack, magic medical attack, a target is spell used to the wound, increasing their vulnerability. He has everything he needs to operate on this man's magical brain. Develop craft is read in the dark arts, such as fasting knowledge of magic. I would say, yeah, and he's so darn intelligent. I would say that with the combination of all of these, all the way down to his exceptional handheld items, I'm even going to give him a bonus because of the synergy with the rest, bringing him to a incredible ranking mixed with the what he's going to ask him and stuff. Is he able to, while interrogating him for the answers that other people want, is he able to glean knowledge such as, what was he asking? Arcane truths. Start questioning the artist if there's nothing the artist can offer him. Alright, so is he able to learn something useful about the spell, the magical darkness, the spell that he uses? Okay, so it's going to be his skill versus, we'll say, a difficulty. It'll be versus the artist's intuition, which we'll say is probably high. We'll say it's high. Incredible versus high. Incredible versus high. Anything under a 75 is a yes. That's a yes. So I'm going to interpret as, yes, he learns that it is a dark, powerful magic that involves the master plane. Master plane magic. Plane magic that affects the plane. And he's able to learn, we'll say, that much so. But he also learns, we'll say that he'll learn a spell. Let's give him a spell as a reward. Let's give this player a spell as a reward that he just learns in addition to learning that this is a spell that affects the plane, and that I'll roll on a spell effects table. 3440. Duplicate. Enhance. Duplicate. Enhance. He learns of a spell that can a more advanced version of the spell that can do the same thing the initial spell did in ways changeable by the caster. Whereas this spell seems to have done what the players don't know, but it seems to have purged and brought the plane back to its original state of darkness. You can do something similar to the master plane and have more control over the outcome, but it's a very advanced spell that will require more research. But I'll roll another one to give the player something that he can do right now. 52. Helpful. He learns that acquiring essence from the master plane, a living creature or entity from the master from the plane, can be sculpted into a magical spell. No, he learns how to summon something that is helpful, but it would require an essence from the plane to determine what it is he summons. So he learns that if he gathers an essence from the plane and combines it with what he knows of the master plane magic, he'll be able to he'll be able to conjure something of the plane. But it requires an essence. Any kind of living essence. Any kind of essence. Doesn't have to be living. Any kind of essence. Natural essence from out there. Anything from out there. When applied and combined with his knowledge of this plane magic, it can create something of the master plane that he can conjure. So a conjuration spell plus blueprint for a conjuration spell. Any essence will help influence what it is he can summon. Obviously, the better the essence, which he's going out later, so that's the whole point of that. Hopefully he can find something out there that he can use as an essence. Manages to get arcane knowledge and spell that can replicate the purge spell, but with modified effects but requires further knowledge of master plane magic. Plus he got a blueprint for a conjuration spell. Any essence plus knowledge. Now, can he persuade Sky that this is not torture? If he can, I'll roll an additional spell that he can learn. Sky is opinionated, gentle, generally soft-spoken. Mom energy rushes to danger to protect others. She has a secondary attribute of intuition. So her intuition is high, but she had low intelligence. She's definitely going to be using her intuition. High versus high. Let's see, what abilities does she have? Magic, deathly, bleeding for the cause, hammer dancing, blood rains. Alright. High intelligence versus high intuition. Can he convince her? It's 50-50. Can he convince her it's not torture? Ooh, that's an exceptional no. He has to chill and go and then just begin regular interrogating him. No more looking for information and knowledge. No more looking for information and knowledge. Oh, it's not an exceptional no. Okay, but it is a no. Wait, no. 50-50. Oh, no, that's an exceptional no. She's not having it. I think I had enough for now. All right, let's circle back around and continue rolling some dice. But let's circle back around to Ovaz. Ovaz is rising early, observing the sunrise, and praying, requesting guidance. He will rise early, observe the sunrise, or lack thereof, and if the miasma is completely blocking it out. The miasma is gone now, and pray, using his Lantier's light ability to request divine guidance. Bearing in mind whatever revelations Lantier can provide, if any, he will approach Samuel and offer his aid in the convening trial. Lantier's light. Lantier's light. Ovaz can tap into Lantier's divine wisdom. This ability allows him to foresee possible outcomes of significant events, aiding him in strategic decision-making, as well as his ability to form deep relationships and provide sagest counsel. This ability allows him to foresee possible outcomes of significant events, aiding him in strategic decision-making, as well as his ability to form deep relationships and provide sagest counsel. Possible outcomes, not necessarily the one that's going to happen. This ability allows him to foresee possible outcomes of significant events, aiding him in strategic decision making. And he says he's going to help with the trials. The worst thing that can happen during the trial is the attack. So, worst best case scenario, he detects an attack, which anyone can probably foresee. But he has to obviously prepare for Nazareth. Possible outcomes of significant events, aiding him in strategic decision making, as well as his ability to form deep relationships and provide sage's counsel. He will provide sage's counsel. That is what he will offer. That's the most valuable thing he'll be able. One of the most valuable things he'll be able to offer is his sage's counsel. Ability allows him to foresee possible outcomes of significant events, aiding him in strategic decision making. All right, let's roll a dice and see exactly how clear is this premonition. Allows him to foresee possible outcomes, plural, of significant events, and he'll be able to prepare for the worst. How clear is this foresight in this prayer that he gets? His ability is high. This is, I'm gonna say, the ability to, the fact that you have the difficulty of this Lantier is not hard, but the magnitude of the task, we'll say, is on a scale, on a universal scale, we'll say is average. The difficulty will be average for the average person who taps into using their, to foresee things. That is the average person. The average sages, it is an average difficulty for them, and with his high magic ability of Blantier's Light, that's what we'll use to roll. 23. High versus average. So yes, he's successful in getting a clear premonition, some foresight of the multiple outcomes. He gets all the different outcomes. The ones that haunt him the most are the ones where Nazareth succeeds in attacking. Each of which were at opportune times. He's able to he's able to learn that not only if Nazareth attacks, it'll likely be because of what he's foreseen. It'll likely be at a bad time for us. So we'll need to be on guard at all times, and this will be part of the counsel that he gives, which kind of it dulls the edge of it kind of counters Nazareth's whole approach, him being lucky, which is what allows him to attack at the worst time. Which, if you think about it, because that's luck based, all they can do is really prepare, because it's not they won't have control over it no matter how much they prepare. But it definitely lowers the chance, makes the margin for error smaller because they're more aware of it. But it's really going to come down to luck. Success. He foresees an opportune timing. So he foresees an ambush at a bad time, and he provides counsel specifically focused on that. He also, saw something that troubled him, and one of the outcomes, the artist escapes. So he will also in his counsel bring up the topic of if this person is sentenced to captivity, that's a liability. It's too dangerous to keep him alive, and then it's just something to consider. Counsel like that. So this is kind of the guidance that Lantier will present, and he'll be able to work and build off of that. Offers to help Sam with the convening trials, because he's going to be asking all the questions. All right, Oiji will speak with Will about speaking with the artist. He speaks with the artist, tries to get private, unable to. However, when he does get his hands on him, he's able to glean some information off his brain for a little bit before Sky asks him to stop. That'll be a cool scene of us seeing Oiji use his tools. We could see his magic used in a technical way. That'll be interesting. And then Sky's like, "Yo, chill," and she'll protest that because it's wrong. And then Oiji will find Elle and Del. All right, so we got to roll to see if he's able to find the parents, if they're alive. Yo, baby, where are we going? Is it one we've been to before?
Nope.
Is it far?
Not too far. Not close either.
Oh shit. So I need to be ready at 5.
No, so I can take you out before 5.
Be ready by 5. 4:11.
Yeah.
Instead of asking if they're alive, we'll just straight up ask if he finds them, and we'll figure it out from there. Are the parents of Ellen Dell found by Oiji? I'm gonna say some time has gone by, right? I'm gonna say it's very unlikely. I'm gonna say it's very unlikely that he finds them. Whether that means they're dead or not, that's another thing. But I think it's very unlikely that he finds them. 7. 7. That might be an exceptional yes. 7. Very unlikely. That's a yes. That's a yes. Come in.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
To you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting old. How was your day?
Good.
Word. Are you excited for Christmas?
Am bracing myself for it.
What are you hoping for?
Hoping for something Godzilla related.
Oh, you like Godzilla?
Yeah, I still like Godzilla.
Did you see -1?
Still fire.
Oh yeah, you went with us, right?
Yeah.
Did you? What about that Monarch series? Have you heard about that?
I'm planning to check out later. Sooner or later. It's got some mixed reviews.
The series did.
In fact, did it get mixed reviews? Yeah. But I'll check it out later.
There's a Godzilla vs Kong's coming out, right?
Godzilla vs. Kong: The New Empire.
Yeah, when's that come out?
Next year.
It sounds so far away, but it's really not. Hey, thank you. So yes, he finds their parents. A part of me feels like that player was hoping he wouldn't be able to, but very unlikely. That was a pretty interesting role. He finds the parents. So you know what that means? If he finds the parents, I want to make it so that it's not apparent at first. Just he comes to a point where he doesn't find them, and then he goes on to like find a shelter and a home to raise them, and then we'll surprise the player by having the parents show up at the end, and we'll make them cult members of Maximori's religion of the maiden to tie that together, and that's why they were missing for so long, you know. And it's going to be made apparent too, because like they won't be like, it'll be weird when they're reunited. Like, why aren't you that excited that you just got reunited with your kids? And Oiji will pick up on that. Hopefully. Yeah. Finds parents. He looks for them, doesn't find them, sets up home, some bonding, and then at the end, Oid parents / cultists appear, reuniting with kids. Now, Oiji says he reunites them, meaning he lets them go. So I won't be wrong if I do a scene where you see the parents arrive, it's all sad and shit, right? It's all sad. Like, oh, well, it's happy too because they're reunited with their parents. And we're going to make the parents look very normal. We'll have a reason as to why they, you know? And then at the end, we show them arriving to their so-called home, which is going to be the new location that Maxi Mori found for the maiden cult. That's going to be smooth. Ouija parents, cultists appear, reuniting with kids. They take the kids, arrive to new maiden cult with Maxi, and that's when we'll show Maxim in his new location. Let me show you what my paper looks like so far. Before trial, you know, I got my little planning out here, that little outline, my roles, and then ultimately I'm just going to rearrange everything so that it all flows into in a timely manner, in an order, in an interesting, entertaining order. The goal is to spread out interesting bits across the entire episode, and we're off to a strong start. And that's just the before the trial. The trial in and of itself is going to be a spectacle, and then post trial we can finish strong with what we just added. All right. So yeah, he looks around, does it find us at home, bonding. Okay. All right. Oiji props up a lie, shadow government. This is where he said he's going to play a political game. He wants to prop up a lie as the one to lead the masses, as Oiji is a deceptive and bold one. He is trying to play the political shadow government game, trying to influence a lie and others to his point of view, whilst pandering and feeding their ego. All right, where did we leave off? Christmas was yesterday. I'm coming off of my little break. This episode is going to be nuts, and I can't wait to start writing it. Oh yeah, where we left off, Oiji does discover the parents. They do end up being discovered, right? And to spice it up, we decided to make them cultists of the maiden. Okay, looks for them, doesn't find them, sets up home. All right, Oiji props up a lie. So from a political standpoint, maybe some diplomacy, it's looking like Oiji props up a lie to make her so that people, the general public, perceive her as a person that can lead the settlement. Oiji wants to prop a lie up as the one to lead the masses. As Oiji is a deceptive and bold one, he's trying to play the political shadow government game, trying to influence a lie and others to his point of view, whilst pandering and feeding their egos. I'm trying to think, do I need to roll anything? Let's see how successful he is at propping her up to be this person. Oiji, let's look at his attributes, and then we're gonna roll, because I could see this in affecting things later on down the line. Primary attribute, willpower. Secondary attribute, intelligence. Magic, energy, magic disruption, magic immunity, magic, medical skill, development, crafts. Okay, so nothing in the lane of deception. He is rather intelligent, with a high intelligence, so we can use that we can use his governing intelligence. Oiji begins to lay the crumbs that a lie is the next suited person to lead. How successful is Oiji at doing this? With an intelligence of high, I'll say somewhat likely, being that this character has had a hand in saving everyone, in their time of need, along with a lot of people likely wanting the artist to be killed. I'm gonna say that it's somewhat likely. We'll say that it is very likely. It's very likely that people do listen to Oiji and are somewhat agreeable to his perception of a lie and his perspective. I mean, we'll say likely. We'll say very likely. Anything under a 75 is a yes. 20. So that's a yes. Where's my dice rolling sound? That's weird. Let's close this and reopen it. I don't know if I want to roll dice without hearing it. I kind of need that. It keeps me going. There we go. All right. So yeah, he starts getting people to see his perspective. There's going to be a scene where he speaks with the lie, feeding her ego. Let's see how successful he is at that. We'll do the same thing. Let me take a look at a lie's submission. So a lie, mic check. A lie, ruthless, relentless. She's a born leader, okay? That's her personality. So she's likely willpower. Toughness is her biggest attribute. Strength, agility is her lowest. Voice of the warband. Yeah. Okay, so she has average intuition. She's likely not going to pick up on his deception, his goading her, feeding into her ego. But let's see, is she able to pick up on his intelligence is high versus her average intelligence? We'll do his intelligence versus her intelligence and his attempts to feed into her ego. And we're just going to roll to see if she's able to pick up on it. Just to roll to see if she's able to pick up on it. So high versus average. So it'll be high versus average. So anything under 75 is a yes. Is he able to feed into her ego without her picking up on it? I mean, she's not that bright, right? And he's not like trying to be too deceptive, like antagonistically deceptive. It's pretty subtle. We're just seeing if she's able to, pick up on it. Anything under 75 is a yes. Is he able to? Yeah. And she doesn't pick up on it. So yeah, he's feeding into her ego, and how whatever impact that'll have later on, that's fine. But we just know that this is something that's taking place. This is setting the table for some, for some potential upcoming political um, scenarios coming up. All right, Eden. She establishes a new facility: eat, sleep, healing, library work. She's going to be the mediator of offering these services. However, she's lacking the personal funds, so she seeks support from the settlement's leadership, arguing that the community's survival hinges on the hero's endeavors. Her expertise in knowledge, diplomacy, and healing should bolster her case. She has no aspiration to be a leader. When necessary, she offers valuable advice to the authorities through anonymous letters, utilizing her disguise self-spell. Now, there are a few people who want to be leading this place, so because they haven't been established, I don't know, and she's not designating who she's writing to in particular. I don't know if this is something that's going to be carried out, being that there's no one that has been appointed officially yet. And because the player, Eden, is not stating who she's going to, we may just have to, that might have to be something that she does once a leader is appointed. So she'll have to make with what she can, with what she has. Establishing new facility, but she doesn't have the funds. Okay, so she's the mediator. She seeks support from the settlement's leadership, arguing support for the settlement. So at minimum, what she's going to attempt to do is to start building some semblance of a means of providing food, sleep and shelter, healing, library work. I'll interpret that as like information and knowledge, record keeping. All of which is something that she can do by herself. How impactful it will be, it has to start somewhere, right? So we'll be able to get these things established in a new facility in this settlement, and we'll let Eden decide what it's going to be called. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if she's successful in building and getting this establishment going. And if successful, it will begin to provide these services for people. Now, I'm going to say the difficulty of that is not going to be hard, because she's not shooting for the stars at the moment, because she doesn't have the funding to. This is just going to be something to start. I'm going to say the difficulty of organizing all of these things will be a high difficulty. And if she fails, we'll re-roll again, but it'll be missing one of these elements. If she fails again, we'll roll again, and it'll be missing more elements. In the order that she wrote, we'll do it that way. So we'll roll for eat, sleep, healing, and library, and we'll continue, and we'll keep rolling until she's able, until she runs out of rolls, and then she'll have to try again later. Maybe she'll have more resources later. But let's first see if she's able to begin just begin to create a facility, have a facility built up, even if it's just tents and stuff, right? That provides food, sleep, healing. And, the magnitude of these things are small because the resources aren't there. However, this is where it starts. Okay, so she's going to establish a new facility. I say the difficulty of knocking all of these out is going to be high. Now, her expertise is knowledge, diplomacy, and healing, which I think does bolster her case in terms of how is she able to do this, because people will support what she's trying to bring naturally because it's a good thing, and she can provide a third of the source of the services, right? I mean, let's go to Eden's character sheet. Eden, motherly, wise, curious, high intuition, exceptional intuition, high willpower. She has knowledge. Eden is very knowledgeable in many fields through the favors of magic dragons. Though she favors magic dragons in politics. So this is right up her alley. She'll probably be using her high skill. I would imagine she'd be using her high knowledge skill to spearhead this. I will give her a +1 rank shift bonus for also for combining it with her above average diplomacy ability. Okay. Um, so it's going to be high. It's going to be incredible. So from high to incredible. So it's going to be incredible versus high. I'm sorry. It's going to be exceptional versus high. Exceptional. Her exceptional intelligence to pull this off versus high. So she'll need anything under a 65. Is she successful in building this facility, getting this facility started? Exceptional versus high. Anything under a 65. Let's go. Ooh, is that an exceptional yes? That's an exceptional yes. That's an exceptional yes. So she's able to most definitely get this started. I would even say to the magnitude of what she was expecting. Mine is as without the financial backing, but everything that doesn't require finances is comes to fruition. So let's see. Eat. There are people that are that donate food and are willing to prepare food. Of course, you got Willem, right? But there are, there's also an abundance of people willing to offer their services. So food is definitely going to get served. Healing, she can do that, and maybe there's some assistants who are willing to assist with that. Library, everyone is offering to compile what they already know or knew about the world as it was, and because we don't know much about the world as it is now. People are willing to share what they currently know from what they've seen and fought and encountered out in the darkness. So there's now going to be some record keeping on that, and obviously she has been appointed the mediator of all of these things. She would be in charge of this facility, which she will name. However, it is lacking funds, so it's a little shabby. It's a little makeshift for now. But she seeks support from the settlement's leadership. She has support from the people of the settlement right now. And currently, the community survival now hinges on Eden. Exceptional, yes. And that allows me to start introducing contracts and quests and, so we can get like a mission-based thing going here, which is ultimately where I want it to go. In addition to people freeform role-playing and living out their life, there will be quests that start to become available through contracts and stuff, a la Final Fantasy Tactics job propositions. Awesome, good for Eden. That should be interesting. Zenhera wants to help the hospital, so we'll be sure to show Zenhera offering her assistance to Eden's endeavors. Let's see, is there anything meaningful that she can do that I may need to roll for the possibility of some stellar results? Let's see. So Zenhera says she wants to help. How would Zenhera help? Zenhera is careful, timid, altruistic. Okay, so we're going to show some altruism, okay, through Zenhera. It's in her personality. Reflex, willpower. All right, she has lightning, electrical magic. She's probably going to be charging up those potions, right? Herbalism is more than just a vessel for elemental beings. Zenhera spent years under tutelage in her mother's learning herbs, poultices. So she's going to be charging up some poultices. Potion boosting. Yeah. She's definitely. I'm going to show Zenhera. Matter of fact, let's see if there's anything we need to roll. So she's going to be charging up potions. I believe that's what she said in her submission. I don't even need to go to it because I remember it because I thought it was such a cool idea. But between potion boosting, which is above average, and herbalism, which is her high, I'll give her a bonus of 1 for the synergy there. So we'll say exceptional. She's going to help. She's going to help Eden with the healing portion of the services. And I would say, because Eden is already pretty good at that, we're going to say the difficulty is average. Okay, so it's going to be exceptional versus average. How successful is Zinhera in this particular scenario, helping Eden? Exceptional versus average. So that is going to be anything under a 85. Anything under 85. Yo, these rolls are amazing today. 16? That's right on the nose. That's an exceptional yes. Exceptional versus. Right? Yeah, it's right on the nose. That's an exceptional yes. So she makes some bomb potions. So much so that I'm willing to say that if anyone gets utterly decimated in this episode, we know that there is healing available because of because of what Eden has provided. But even if it's a very bad wound, these supercharged potions that have been provided by Zenera will likely, and will roll, but should likely be able to, help out. Assists, Eden, exceptional, yes. Charged, poultices, herbalism. And then here we have, a lie who says she will be influencing the populace before the trial, calling for the torture of the artist. Let me make sure I got that right. Her method: use her warband to influence the populace before and during the public trial to cry for artist's punishment, but not just punishment, torture. This should be relatively easy due to the size and scale of the artist's spell. She no longer cares if she is the one to kill the artist. She doesn't care if the artist lives or dies. Her singular focus is for Samuel Andrews to torture the artist in the name of justice. That's not going to happen. Samuel is not going to do that. But what I do see happening is her being successful at influencing the populace, not only because she has her warband helping her, symbols. These are symbols of power, but also the groundwork that Oiji has laid, which I'm glad we rolled because that's going to influence the outcome of this. Her warband is a symbol of power. She's using her warband. We'll give it a bonus because of what Oiji has done as well. And if I recall, that was a success. Nothing exceptional, but success nonetheless. So we'll give it a bonus. Her warband as a symbol of power and that she's going to use to influence. Her warband is, so it's not an ability, but voice of the warband, shout her voice, rousing her raiders and demoralizing her foes. So when she says she's using her warband, I can only assume what she means by that is as symbols of power. They are also going to pretty much do what Oiji did and bolster her up and use their influence, which they probably, outside of being fighters and symbols of power, they probably don't have. They're not very diplomatic. So she's going to get a big jump. She's going to get her biggest support is what Oiji has done, right? Voice of the warband. Maybe that's what she meant. Ally shouts, her voice heard clear over the battlefield, either rousing her raiders or demoralizing her foes. She's not trying to demoralize anyone, but she's trying to get people to listen to her. So, voice of the warband in terms of people will hear her, right? And she's a born leader. So, we'll say, that's her exceptional ability. I'm going to take off. Because it's not really appropriate for what she's trying to do. I'm going to take off. I'm going to bring that from exceptional. We're going to bring it down to a high. I'm going to bring it down to above average. I'm going to give her a bonus because of Oiji bringing it to high. And I'm going to say the difficulty of what she's trying to accomplish is not hard because, again, now she's calling for torture. Is everybody into torture? No. So we're going to say the difficulty to get people to specifically call for torture. We'll say the difficulty is above average. We'll say people are bitter, right? They want justice. So we'll say above average. It's going to be high versus above average. High versus above average. Anything under 55, she will be successful at influencing the populace to specifically call for torturous execution. Anything under 55. 41. So she's able to instill a rage and an anger into the people. She's been holstered up. She's been hoisted up as this leader, and now she's using that to say, we want this kind of justice. Success. Voice of Warband / OIG sponsorship helps inciting rage. People call for torture. Maxim Mori is next. Maxim Mori consulting with the maiden. So we're going to roll guidance because he wants guidance from the maiden on what to do. And I think this is going to give me an opportunity to potentially create a new plot point, because now we get to introduce a supernatural element in the form of some sort of deity. What is this deity going to request of Maxim Mori? We're going to roll to see also if the wind and the maiden, so the wind is what Father Edmund speaks to. We're going to roll because we don't know. We're going to roll to see if the wind and the maiden, which is who Maxim follows, we're going to roll to see if they are the same entity. And if not, we're going to roll to see if the maiden's sign overshadows the wind sign. Because Maxim Mori, in his submission, said that he wants the maiden to give Father Edmund a sign that he should be working for the maiden. But if the wind is its own separate entity, the wind will then need to countersign to show Father Edmund the way that, don't listen to that sign, listen to this sign. So we're gonna these roles are gonna be very important. First, let's see what guidance. This is going to put Maxim Mori on a path and create a new plot point. What guidance does the maiden provide to Maxim Mori? Let's see. I'm gonna roll adventure tone to get a tone of the guidance, and then I'm going to roll meaning with a roll on the action table and a roll and another single roll on the description table. So let's start with adventure tone. I'm gonna roll twice on adventure tone. 1786. Combative, scary. Combative, scary. That's the adventure tone. That's the tone of this guidance. Combative and scary. Sounds like whatever it is, it's heavy, and sounds like the maiden wants smoke. Guidance. Combative plus scary. Alright, let's get some meaning. I'm gonna roll once on the action table and then once on the description table. So I'm just gonna roll 2 D100s. First one, from left to right, it'll be action and then description. Left to right. 73, 4. 73, 4. The action is 73. Proceedings. And the description 4. Angrily. Proceedings is the action. Angrily is the description. Combative. Scary. Proceedings. Angrily. The maiden wants him to proceed. I'm going to interpret that as the maiden wants Maxim Mori to proceed with initiating a ritual. Proceedings. An event or a series of activities involving a formal or set procedure. Proceedings. I'm going to say the maiden wants him to proceed with the process of reviving the maiden into physical form. We'll take it there. Bringing the maiden into physical form. Guidance. Tone. Combative. And the tone is, this has to happen. And if someone stops you, you stop them. This is an aggressive command. The maiden is telling Maxim Mori that this has to happen, and if anyone stops you, they have to deal with us. They have to deal with me. They have to deal with you. The maiden requests a revival into physical form through a series of events. First, he needs to get the people together that can help carry this out. So starting with securing a location / a base which is what he's going to do. And this will be why. Is the maiden and the wind the same entity? The reason this is important is because that means this could turn out that we're dealing with two separate gods of darkness, or it's one single god of darkness. I'm going to do a 50-50. Let's leave it up to fate. Is this the same entity? 50-50. No, it's not the same entity. It's not the same entity. And in his submission, he said, Maxim will also ask the maiden to give Father Edmund a sign to work with her and Maxim. Two patrons of darkness will be better for furthering the maiden's goals. So, now that we know, let me look at Father Edmund. Listen to the wind. Father Edmund can hear voices in the wind from which he can gather information. There must be wind of any kind. Alright, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to base it off of the character, not some god that doesn't have stats. We're going to base it off of the character. So, we're going to base it off of Maximori's, Father Edmund's intuition. Or does he have an ability or a sight? Father Edmund can see one's aura to determine what they're feeling. Arcane sight. Can it visually detect if something or someone is touched or is influenced by linguistic, ancient languages. Chaotic resilience. Father Edmund's encounters with chaotic forces grants him resistance against supernatural curses. This isn't a curse, but it is a supernatural entity trying to instill their will over him. This is more of a case of awareness as opposed to him being physically, spiritually afflicted with anything. So we'll say that we'll base this off of his intuition, okay? And his second highest attribute is intuition. So with the intuition of high, we're going to roll to see if he is able to perceive and identify that this is not the wind giving him this sign. We're going to say that this sign, I don't think Maximori can just give commands to his god. He's going to ask that the maiden give a sign. So I'm going to first roll to see if the maiden even bothers to stoop this low and to try to influence Father Edmund. So first, let me see. Does the maiden try or even attempt to send a sign? I'm gonna say we'll do 50-50. I'll say somewhat likely, because Father Edmund could be a good tool to push to the efforts. I'm gonna say somewhat likely. So anything under a 35 is a yes. We'll say unlikely. We'll say somewhat likely. So anything under a 65 is a yes. Does the maiden send a sign? Anything under a 65 is a yes. Yes. With an intuition of high, because now that I know the maiden is doing this, I would imagine that the message that gets sent, the sign, meant to, it's just a sign, right? We'll say the difficulty of determining if it's, of him discerning if it's not the wind. It'll be his high versus, we'll say average. High versus average. So anything under a 75 is a yes. Small chance. It's an exceptional yes. He immediately is able to identify that this is not the wind. This is not the wind. Received sign from maiden disguised as the wind, but immediately detects it is not the wind. Okay. Sky rises from sleep, well rested thanks to Will's meal, sits in on interrogations with Will. She's there to protest the torture. So as Oichi starts doing his thing, he was unable to convince her that it wasn't torture. So Sky tells him to stop, and he does for the time being. Will meets everyone who arrives early. Will strongly opposed to solo meetings with artists. Oichi can't convince Will for some alone time with the artist. Will seeks the true name. He seeks to see if there is a ledger of people. Let me see. Willem also expresses interest in learning the artist's true name, insisting that it's more formal and official to bring charges against his real name. Willem will attend and observe torture, not intervening, but will not participate in it, should it come to that. If asked, he will ask if the town keeps a rogue's ledger. If asked, he will ask. He will ask if the town keeps a rogue's ledger, or if someone remembers him from before he took on the moniker. So let's ask. We'll ask all these questions. First question. Does the town keep a rogue ledger? 50-50. Yes. Is the artist's real name in the ledger? I'm going to say very unlikely. Anything under a 25? No. Does anyone remember his name before he took on the moniker? I'm going to say again, very unlikely. Anything under a 25? Exceptional, though. He's an unknown. Okay. Will and Sky sit in on torture/tactics. Okay. Asal wanders west. So I rolled 2 locations from the events, secret events. One of them is where they're all going to in the east. And then the other is north, which is a settlement. The forest is in the east. So I gotta roll a location for the west, because this is where Asal is going to explore. In addition to exploring a new location, she wants to see the impact that the darkness had on the area. Right? Let me see. Asal wants to wander off and attempt to decipher what impacts were had on the world from the dark ritual. She plans to do this by exploring the wilderness, keeping as close to lighted areas and nearby settlements. Her main goal is to find answers. If playing safe doesn't satisfy her thirst for answers, then she will take bolder moves and dive even further. So she's going to be the first one to go into this new location. It could be good or bad, right? And that's the whole point. So let's go ahead and roll a location on the location table. I'm going to roll 3 times on the location table. 53, 38, 95. 53, 38, 95. 53, 38, 95. 53, long. 38, fortunate. 95, unusual. Long, fortunate. Unusual. Long, unfortunate. Oh, fortunate. Unusual. Is this a settlement or a dungeon? 50-50. It's a settlement. Long, fortunate. Unusual. What's unusual about this place? I'm going to roll on action and description. 2 rolls. Action and description. What's unusual about this place? About this settlement? Action description. 3250. 3250. Dessert. Helpfully. Dessert. Helpfully. Dessert. Helpfully. Dessert. I don't understand. Dessert. Helpfully. I'm going to interpret this settlement as a long, fortunate. As a location that appears to have been deserted for a long time. It's unusual as to, in terms of the state that it's been left in, and it's helpful in the sense that there are some things here, some lootable things that are obviously helpful to the person who finds it, but it's unusual that there's so many great things here, but it appears deserted for a long time. And yeah, it's some sort of headquarters. It's like a base. It's a headquarters, and whoever was here, they're not here now. So I'm gonna roll some things that she discovers that are significantly worth mentioning. I'm gonna roll 1d6 I'm gonna roll a d6 to determine how many things she discovers that is helpful, right? I'm gonna roll a d6, 3. And I'm going to roll some things that she discovers on the scavenge table. So 3 pairs. So here's the first thing, second thing, and third thing. 599. Animal waste. Animal waste. Animal waste. She discovers an animal carcass. We'll say waste. So animal carcass wouldn't be helpful. She discovers animal carcasses with fur intact, with valuable furs intact. Mystery manifestation carcasses with valuable furs intact. 5976. Mysterious, rotten. We'll say maybe like a breeding pen with broken eggs, hatched eggs that are rotten. And I'm also going to say that there's Yeah, so a breeding pen with rotten eggs. That's not helpful. However, it's helpful in the sense that it's a hint as to what was happening here. What was it? 5976. Mysterious. We'll say carcass. We'll say eggs of a mysterious manifestation. Eggs of mysterious manifestation. We'll say all are rotten and hatched except for one unhatched egg that needs immediate attention at risk of losing it. So this is obviously some sort of, whoever was here, it was like a breeding ground. Maybe it was some hunters that were here, because you're finding eggs, you're finding carcasses on a spit, rotten carcasses, over a fire that's been there for a while, like it's been abandoned. All right, and then we have 2354, danger, mechanical, some kind of contraption. We'll say she finds some kind of like trap. We'll say several traps, creature manifestation traps. Danger, mechanical, traps, complex, creature traps. I'm going to roll on a potency table to get an idea how effective these traps are. I'm going to say that, I'm going to put a number out there. I'm going to say that they're probably, based off of the creature carcasses, they're mildly effective. There's 3 of them. They're mildly effective. We'll say they have the effectiveness of above average. These are above average traps. I'm going to say above average traps, and that we'll say it's likely that these are some above average traps. We'll say 50-50. They're above average traps. 32. Yes, they're above average. They're above average traps. So yeah, that's what I expected. Above average traps. What do these traps look like? I'm gonna roll on a traps table to get an idea first. Just curious. 5574. Heat plants. I'm going to interpret that as something that involves fire and something being planted. So I'm going to say that these are some sort of weird plant traps that are obviously planted in the ground, and maybe vines of vine tendrils of fire, like a fire plant with fire vines. Reach out and burn and squeeze and constrict, flaming and constricting plant traps. Flaming, constricting plant traps. Flaming, constricting plant traps. 3 of them. Does she encounter? Yes, it's abandoned. But I'm going to ask the question, does she encounter anything? Any enemies? It's been abandoned for a long time. I'm going to say unlikely. I'm going to say it's unlikely. Just because it's been abandoned for a long time. I like that context. Unlikely. Anything under a 35 is a yes. Does she encounter anything? Unlikely. No. So she finds an abandoned hunter's settlement. An abandoned settlement that appears to belong to some sort of hunters, and it seems abandoned. And I imagine that her curiosity has, she doesn't really find answers here so far on, well, I mean, yeah, she can't find answers because there's no body or anything. It's abandoned, which kind of gives a hint that maybe whoever was here is out there somewhere and hasn't returned in a while because they've been killed. So that kind of gives her answers and kind of reinforces the fact that it's dangerous out there. But let's say that she takes a closer look in order to quench her curiosity. She takes a closer look and does another once over. Does she discover anything else that could answer any her questions related to how the world has changed by this by the artist's spell? Does she find anything else? I'm going to say 50-50. We're going to leave it up to fate. 50-50. I say yes. And what is it that she discovers? 25-60. Control kindly. Control kindly. I'm going to say that she realizes that now that she's here, it's not as dark. In fact, she has more. She has awareness of her surroundings. It seems to have become clear that because she had discovered a new area, the darkness, the obscurity has seemed to clear in the area, and she realizes that maybe this darkness is not exactly what she thought it was. It's more of just a lack of discovery that provides the darkness. And as you venture out, you become more familiar with the area, and this is in turn reflected by the clearing of the obscure darkness. So she kind of has an epiphany, control, a kind of control of your surroundings is done by exploring. So she kind of starts to understand that exploring is clearing the darkness.